What if, one perfectly ordinary Tuesday morning, the sun suddenly doubled in size? No warning. No gradual swelling. One moment it's the same star we've always known. The next, it's twice as wide, looming in the sky like an overexposed photograph. First, let's clarify, doubling in size doesn't mean doubling in mass. In this scenario, we'll assume the sun's mass stays the same. That means its gravity doesn't change, so Earth won't suddenly fall into it or slingshot out into space. But the surface area of the sun would quadruple, which means it would radiate a lot more heat and light almost instantly. How much more? About 4 times as much energy would be pouring toward us. If your summer day in Arizona already feels like an oven, this would turn it into a blast furnace. Within minutes, average global temperatures would begin to climb. The oceans, vast as they are, would start warming at a rate never before seen in Earth's history. You wouldn't notice the rise in temperature second by second, you'd be too busy noticing the strange, searing brightness and the fact that shadows are now razor sharp, with no hint of twilight softness. Sunglasses? Forget it. You'd need welding goggles just to walk outside. Within the first day, global temperatures could soar by tens of degrees Celsius. In many regions, standing outside in direct sunlight would cause severe burns in minutes. Crops would wilt, forests would dry out, and the atmosphere would begin to swell as the heated air expanded. The ice caps? Gone in a matter of weeks, dumping massive amounts of fresh water into the oceans and raising sea levels rapidly. Coastal cities would scramble to build barriers, though that's a bit like trying to patch a dam with bubble gum while the floodwaters roar over it. But that's just the surface level problem. The sudden heat spike would unleash powerful storms. Warm air rises faster, fuels stronger winds, and holds more moisture. Mega hurricanes would form and spin across the oceans. Monsoon systems would become unpredictable. Lightning storms would intensify as the atmosphere churned with energy. And with the added sunlight, photosynthesis would at first speed up dramatically, plants would love the extra photons. For a while. Then, as temperatures kept rising, they'd start shutting down from heat stress. You might be thinking, wait, if the sun's mass hasn't changed, shouldn't the planets just keep orbiting normally? And yes, gravitationally, we'd be fine. But physically, the sun's outer layers would be unstable. Doubling its size without changing its mass would make its surface gravity weaker, and that would make it harder to hold on to all that plasma. Solar winds would intensify, bombarding Earth's magnetic field with charged particles. Our auroras would be spectacular, until they fried half the satellites in orbit. GPS? Gone. Power grids? Expect rolling blackouts. After a month, the oceans would be well on their way to boiling. Not all at once, but slowly, like a giant planetary kettle on low heat. The water cycle would go into overdrive, more evaporation, more rainfall in some places, crushing drought in others. Many animal species would struggle to survive the temperature extremes. Humans could retreat underground, or live in climate-controlled domes, but those domes would need constant cooling, which means constant electricity, which means, you'd better hope your local solar panels can handle 4 times their usual input without melting. And here's the kicker, the sun, at twice its size but same mass, would be unstable in real life. The delicate balance between gravity pulling in and pressure pushing out would be disrupted. Over time, it might contract again, or flare violently, shedding mass into space. In other words, our star wouldn't stay double-sized for long, it would be in the stellar equivalent of a medical emergency, and we're the tiny microbes clinging to its feverish skin. So, could we survive? Maybe for a while, weeks to months in the best-prepared cities. But long-term? Our ecosystems, weather patterns, and food chains would collapse. The oceans might never fully boil away before the sun's instability caused it to change again, but by then, most of Earth would already be uninhabitable. The last humans might be deep underground, watching an unbearably bright sun through thick layers of shielding, wondering how something so beautiful could have destroyed everything they knew. And if you're hoping that, somewhere far away, another civilization is watching all this unfold through a telescope, they'd probably be saying, "Yep. That system's toast." Subscribe for more interesting